Tick tock, tick tock. Oh, I forgot I was going to play a theme song this time. It was going to be a little bit of Rage Against the Machine, but I forgot. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hello, Kick-Ass Nation, fellow Go Love Now followers. It is I, Christopher Rausch, and we are back here once again, bringing to you another episode of Friday Night Live, where we ask the tough questions, where Scott Goyette and myself have engaging conversations with our guests, digging into the issues and the root problems of situations that are facing us today, whether it's personal development, whether it's business world, or of course, the societal situations that we have going on in the world around us with Black Lives Matter and the injustice that is being seen and watched on all of our TV screens and our phones around the world. If you guys saw us last week, we had an amazing individual who joined us for this first conversation and that was Arvind Poole. And what a dynamic individual Arvind is. And I hope you got a chance to see that episode. If you didn't, it's in the body of this episode as an announcement. So we really encourage you to go back after this and really get different perspectives on the discussions that we're having, because they're massive. And I would just want to take this opportunity to, again, thank you guys all for being here and sharing this with everybody. And most importantly, I want to take this opportunity to thank a very special person in my life. And that person in my life is my wife, Barbara. I want to thank you, sweetheart, for being who you are and having the huge heart that you have, and encouraging me to take my voice and my platform to the next level and be more public about my opinions about situations like this, instead of just keeping it to prejudices and everything else. And thank you for your support and encouragement in that situation, because obviously with, having an outspoken voice like mine, there's chances for feedback on that. So thank you for your support. I love you. And together we're making a difference in the world in our respective ways. So I just wanted to say that. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my man crush, Mr. Scott Goyette. Scott, what's going on, brother? I feel like I just talked to you just like 8 minutes ago.
I think it was like 8 seconds ago. You took a bathroom break and ran right back, and here we are.
Yeah. What's going on?
Nothing's happened in the last 3.5 minutes. Everything is still perfect.
Your hair still looks good. That looks good. But hey, man, I mean, since our show last Friday night with Arvind, I can't remember if I told you this or not, but it's been viewed over 1,000 times. And that is massive, considering, we're just starting out. I can't remember what episode we're on with this, because it all just came together. But that is massive for the people that tuned in and listened to that and shared that, and the people that are getting impacted by that. So again, Arvind, if you're watching live or after on the replay, thank you again so much for being here. I learned a tremendous amount from you, and I know the viewers did too. What have been some feedback that you've received, Scott?
Well, I want to share one thing real quick before I give that. I think that of all the shows that we've given so much, good ideas for personal growth. But if there's any one that I want to have 1,000+ views, it was that one. Because the most important one is, when we fix the injustice in society, so many of those things are going to start to organically heal. And so, I've heard the exact same thing. I connected with Arvind. He was excited to be a part of the show. Again, we're going to introduce our next guest in a minute, and he's here, for the same reason, because he saw what happened with, Arvind, and there's a lot of positivity and a lot of potential for growth, and no one wants to have these conversations. No one. Here's the deal: as humans, we're addicted to comfort and we're addicted to certainty, and that concept of uncertainty doesn't feel good. And so when we all of a sudden say, you have to learn this right now, and what you thought was truth before is no longer truth, is there anybody that raises their hand and says, oh, I'm in, let's do that today? No.
No, they run to their short-term gratifications and go, no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
No, we want to do it tomorrow or pretend it doesn't happen. So one of the things that I know you and I have been doing is we're taking deep breaths as we're listening to people saying things like, oh, Kaepernick shouldn't have taken the knee, or this or this. And we're sitting here trying to figure out, how do we talk to that person? Because let's be honest too, and I want to back up a few years, okay? When I first heard that Colin took a knee, or actually I think was he sitting down at first before he took the knee? I think he sat down during the national anthem. I remember saying, not the right venue, and he shouldn't be doing it. Should have been somebody else. And I remember a black friend of mine, he said, that is a load of crap and you're completely wrong. And so of course I argued, and I'm going to be all smart guy and I think I've got the right answers. And really quickly he made me realize, do you understand why he's doing this? He's like, he's got a massive audience and an opportunity to connect with people and get the conversation going. The fact that you and I are talking right now is because of him. And instantly I'm like, whoa. They go, what's the difference with Martin Luther King? Everyone loves him now because he's dead and he can't say anything. And I'm sitting here listening going, this is absolute brilliance. I'm so sorry I was ignorant. What's next? And then, of course, what's next comes up. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. You got to be kidding me. It's all lives matter. Black Lives Matter. Are you kidding me? Like that's racial in itself. And then all of a sudden you got the explanation again. Another buddy hits me up and goes, hey, Scott, seriously, you know what you said the other day on Facebook? He's like, think of what you're saying. He's like, so if I got a broken arm and I'm saying, let's fix this broken arm, you're saying all body parts matter. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, you guys keep getting me. And the point is, we get into these echo chambers that we listen. We don't realize everybody around us is suffering from the same misconceptions. And so here's what I want people to understand is I'm sitting here preaching something. I'm preaching, look at things in a different perspective, and I'm preaching it because I am practicing it. There's something that our guest will probably say today that makes me wake up even more. And that's what we're trying to do. No one's perfect. We're all on a journey. I mean, we're just trying to figure it out. And you recently too had the same thing, right? With the All Lives Matter, not realizing what it sounded like, right?
Yep.
So talk about that.
Yep. I shouldn't say I made a mistake. I spoke on a walk and talk video recently when this first came out, and I said, everyone's the same. Split us down the middle. We're all the same. We all bleed. We all have that. And I do believe that we are all the same. But my wife pointed out to me, she's like, you're not giving the attention where the attention is due. This is a segment of our population that needs us. And you're saying that they are the same as us when they don't have the same rights, they don't have the same opportunities. And for me, it wasn't malicious by any means. I'm like, I love everybody. But at the same time, it was like that little tweak that we need sometimes to go, wait, I didn't look. I mean, you know me, I'm all about perspectives. And I was like, you know what? That's insensitive. And so now I've said it differently. And I was the same as you. It's like, all lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. I love cops. There's good cops. There's bad cops. There's good white people. There's bad white. I mean, it's just, there's good neighborhoods. There's bad neighborhoods, you know, everything. It's all yin and yang. It's like, as long as you're doing your thing and you love what you do, then go for it. But yeah, I mean, learning more about, you know, being comfortable with the white privilege thing at first, you know, honestly, Scott, I was like, that's kind of weird. I mean, I don't, that feels icky. I don't want to be that guy that thinks I have white, and it's no, you have it, and you have an ability to use your platform with it. That's why we've, you know, spoken up even more from just the personal development stuff, is that, you know, you have a privilege, you have an opportunity to take that and lift a brother and a sister up and make it more equanimous, as my coach would say, as Coach Sally would say. So yeah, I mean, that's the continued evolution of what we're doing. And that's why we invite you guys to these things, because that they are raw. They're vulnerable. They're candid conversations. If you guys were here last week, you heard me ask a very difficult question, but I wanted to ask it because if I'm asking it, then other people are thinking about, you know, what is that? You know, and if I ask it and we get it out in the open and we learn about it, we can grow and move on. And I know that tonight's guest is going to be just the same powerhouse as Arvind was. And I can't wait to get started. And like you said, continue learning and listening, really listening is the massive part of that.
Yeah, and another thing too is don't be afraid to throw something in the comments that, you know, hey, is this the wrong question? Do I look stupid? We're sitting here live. We're going to say something stupid, and you know what's okay with that? This is it. This is humanity. This is the game of humanity playing out live right now. We've had injustices. We've had mistakes. We're denying them. Now we're coming to grips with it, and we're having conversations like these so that people can wake up. There's nothing wrong with that. So you've aligned to some mistruths or to some things that were injustices. Nobody thinks you're an evil, horrific person. This is what happens though if you don't change and don't have the willingness to look at things differently. Then we got to ask ourselves, why are you sticking to that? And we'll assume this too. You love comfort. You're a human. This is where the change is going to come. Uncertainty is the what's the word I'm looking for? Predecessor to growth. You've got to have uncertainty. So let's do this today. Let's listen to our special guest, and I'm going to introduce him in 1 second. Let's listen to him. Let's wake up and realize this, okay? We need to embrace uncertainty to grow. We need to make some mistakes. We need to fall on our face. We need to make some stupid comments, and we're all going to learn together. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Without further ado, I want to introduce, this is a guy I met like 20 years ago. Like, I hate to say that because he and I probably both think we're still in our early 20s, but we were playing basketball together at Lifetime Fitness. He's one of those guys. He's a speedy little like point guard type who drives to the hole hard, and you know, he thinks he's better than you, and I can outshoot him, and he's probably going to punch me in the face after this, but he's a great guy. His name is Sean Hardeman.
What's up, Sean?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? Hey, that's a great intro, Scott. I like that. What's up, lady?
I know I'm in trouble. Well, hey, listen.
I have no idea what you said, Scott. That was all. That might as well have been German for me. Like the whole shot, I was just like thinking bad things. But
he
hey,
doesn't,
welcome
he doesn't
to
know
the
where I
show.
live.
Welcome.
He doesn't.
We're gonna turn into a sports talk too in a second.
Well, I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be just like, I'll have to Google everything you guys are talking about. I don't know sports, but I know people. That's what we're here to talk about.
People are good. People are good.
No, as Jim Morrison said, people are strange, and they really fucking are.
A lot of truth to that too.
Yeah. So what's going on, Sean? How are you?
Hey, first I want to say thank you guys for having me on. You have a great platform. My job is not to come here and be an expert. My job is to come here and learn, but also educate. And if you understand anything about, just scholarly living and Renaissance individuals, they learn from their situations more than they give. And in turn, when they immerse themselves in the learning process, they give so much more. And it actually becomes a climactic kind of change that comes with that person's life. So that's what I'm looking for.
I love it. And we were just talking about that earlier is, one moment you're the teacher, one more moment you're the student. And that's the beauty of life is you're going to teach me something and I have something to share and we all grow together.
Absolutely. I mean, but once again, you have a great platform and I appreciate you guys allowing me to come on.
Thank you. No, we're very thankful to have you on and thankful that Scott knows you. Talk to us about what life has been like for you and your family and your friends since all of this started. Have you seen things get worse, in your particular lives, or better, or enhanced, or changed, or what is also the perspective you see from what's happening around the globe with this, the world is watching type thing? Talk to us about how life has been impacted for you over these last few weeks and some of your observations.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm a individual from Austin, Texas, middle class family. Middle class family. I went to Austin LBJ. Parents didn't have a lot of money, but they were not, they were not well off, but they were not poor. And my situation was that I literally took a basketball program. I took my situation. I think what I'm going to bring to the table is this. Most people think that when you talk about equality or Black Lives Matter or injustices or things, you're thinking, reparation. You're thinking, handouts. You're thinking, oh, well, this person needs something. Well, I'm of the mindset that if I have the opportunity, all I've asked God for this entire lifetime is give me the opportunity to prove myself. If I fail trying. And what that does is that it gives me the accountability that I control my situation. So that's the mindset that the guy that you're listening to, that's where he's coming from. But what we're on here talking about there are bigger situations that put ceilings on my outcomes. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I travel a lot. I used to travel a lot. When I would go out of town, I would go to the most affluent part of town in my little rental car. And I was just like, man, I like that about that house, and I like that about that house, and I like that. And what I didn't see, and I mean, it doesn't matter what city you're in, because of the affluency and the wealth, it seems to pass minorities by. And it's not that it passes us by, it's that the opportunities are not as great for us as there are for others. And that's not, the beauty of this is that it's not a monetary situation. It's not a affluency situation. It's an opportunity situation. And because if you have a lot of people out there with the same mindset that say, if you give me the opportunity, I'll show you exactly what I can do.
And it's interesting you're saying that, because one of the words that gets thrown around a lot is equality versus the word equity. And I love the concept of equity is, you lift somebody up enough to give them the opportunity, a true opportunity. Because listen, like, let's say one of the things, and you and I are both in school speaking, Sean, so you know how this works. I see a lot of the kids on the east side of 35 in the Hispanic and the Black neighborhoods, they don't have the money to go to some of the summer camps. So let's say, you got some white family who's got the money to go to summer camps. You've got kids at school for 8 or 9 months, and then they're going to school again, they're learning reading or math or robotics or whatever, and they're coming back in. So they always have an edge. And I've heard this time and time again when I'm at Dove Springs, kids are going, I just feel stupid in school. I don't feel smart or whatever. It's nothing to do with that. It's very simple. It's not an equity situation. It's like you don't have the same
opportunity.
Yeah, it's the same opportunity. So I'm hearing you loud and clear. One of the things that, and I know you and I both want this, give everyone the same opportunity. And some people are scared.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And what happens when you do that? See, the thing about it is that people are protective about, like, if I'm paying a mortgage and I have the key to this house, it's certain things that come with that. And I'm like, it's certain protections and ideology that I have. And when you say, well, open your house up, they're like, no. So we're trying to tell people to open their minds up when they've always thought a certain way, and they're very protective about it. And so what the dialogue that we're having today is not to sit up here and say, I'm going to kick your door in. It's just, I'm going to say, hey, look, let's just have a discussion so you can understand that I'm actually here working with you, not against you. Like, we're saying that, honestly, in my head, I think people are saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're saying the same thing. I just, we're seeing it in our own lenses. And so I need to put your glasses on for a little bit, and you definitely need to put my glasses on as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for saying that, Sean. And just for the viewers understanding, give us a couple of examples of opportunities where you think it hasn't been equitable, that where you would have wished it would have been, fair. So just so they can get a kind of idea, is it at the job or
actually, here's what I do. Elite level basketball training. So I try to enhance individuals' lives by, hold on just a second. Here, tell them to go get mom. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. Hold on just a second. I gotta answer this.
No worries.
Yeah,
We'll pause for a brief message from Scott.
So it's interesting because one of the things that actually Sean does is he does work with basketball players. And one of the things that I've done a lot in my life is I see so many commonalities between the lessons between basketball and between life. And I know that Sean is going to share some of that stuff with you, because one of the things with hoops, and again, this is how I met Sean, when you're in the court, it's almost like, and I don't want to say it's like a battlefield. It's a team. You're all one. It's a dance. There's a connection. So, Sean and I were to play basketball, you wouldn't think, oh, there's a white guy, there's a black guy, that from different, privileges or whatever. You would just see our connection and how fluid we dance together on the basketball court. Sean's somebody who's dribbling the ball a lot and he's cutting to the hoop. I'm somebody who's out in three-point land shooting threes. I mean, there's a lot of interesting there that if we could take the way people play sports or the way people connect. I mean, the military sports, you see people get on teams and they can live this beautiful existence and they become winners together. It's so interesting that we've been programmed that we can't do that in the real world. So listening to Sean's analogy about the home, but listening to Sean's analogy about the home, imagine, no one's just going to let everybody into your house and say, hey, come on in my house. We do treat our brains the same way. We don't want to just let somebody walk in. So tell us more about that, Sean, because that's a beautiful point.
Well, what I want to do is that I left the point on the table, and then I'll come back to that. But I do basketball training. Mm-hmm. So what I have is that I have from an opportunity perspective, I've become probably top 5, top 10 in the country, arguably, with what I do. But the key is that it's not that many people like me in the arena, but yet we make up 90% of the sport. And
seriously? Wait a minute, say that again, just so people get that. That is massive. If I understood that correctly, that is fucking massive.
Well, I mean, the key is this: is that in a sport that is honestly 85-90% black, there are maybe 10% minority trainers that are nationally recognized. So wow. you have a Gannon Baker, you have a Michael Lancaster. And by the way, these are individuals that are very, very good, but my legitimacy is questioned versus their opportunities are. I mean, I'm not going to even sugarcoat anything.
No, that's what we want to talk about.
Let's just talk. At the end of the day, these individuals earn the right, and there's nothing against those individual people. What the thing that bothers me is that when so what I did is I just said, hey, look, give me the opportunity to show you what I can do. There's times when I've done camps and I don't do the introduction. I'm like, let's just go straight to work. If the work is good, then I'll talk to you about who I am. But if you're not feeling the work, it doesn't matter what I say. Like I got trash work. Right? So it's just from my mindset from the jump, I've always had to feel like I have to prove myself. Now here's the fun part. Going through life in the last 60, 70 days, I actually felt like, and I want to say this slowly, I felt like I had to lose to win. And what that means is that I can't be me because it might make the people that I'm talking to fearful or uncomfortable because I'm coming from a place of hurt and I got to come from a place of educated. So I can't even say what I want to say, how I want to say it, because it's going to come across as angry or, oh my God, but like he's only seeing one way. So I have to constantly check my dialogue and make sure that there is dialogue, and then make sure that I'm also keeping an open mind, even though I'm talking to a closed-minded person.
I like that. I want to add something to that because you and Arvind are insanely cerebral, articulate. Your spirits emanate. And he said something last week, and I listened to him say it. He goes, "I'm angry," and he said it without the emotion connected to him. He spoke it. Yep. And I'm hearing that loud and clear. And let's face it, dude. If you and I went and had a beer right now, and you said what you're thinking, and you were punching stuff and going crazy, I'm fine with that. I almost want that, because one of the things that we teach is working through emotions. The thing is, and you recognize this, the world can't handle that right now, and that's what sucks. The fact that we're sitting here, that you have to speak a certain way so that we listen, is. You know that, like, the point is, it's like, I almost want you just to go off and say everything.
Well, I mean, but here's the key. If you want to see something, like this past weekend, something happened Thursday, and I just took my family and I said, let's just get away. We got to get away from life. We just got to go and just kind of decompress. And, I got to get my energy. I got to get my mojo back, because being a positive individual, being the upstanding, guy, and being the cross bearer, it gets tiring. And I'm at the resort, and I'm literally on Facebook Live crying. If you don't know me, you're not gonna see that. I left it up there, and I went back and listened to it, and that's the only reason I kept it up, is because I said I have. I would literally do the whimpering that I was doing. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do. I feel so weak, but I have to do this. And it's just a matter of so people that know me can see I'm not okay. This is not okay. We sit up here and we talk about PTSD and we talk about all this and all that. But do you not understand, if I'm driving right now, and my wife can attest to this. My wife is white, by the way, but my wife can attest to this. I don't have warrants. I don't deal with none of that crap. I'm super good. But I will tighten up if a cruiser gets behind me every time. Why? What do I have to fear? What did I do wrong? And the key is this, is that the people listening, they're going to say, oh, that's just so cliche, because you don't know me. Nothing about me is cliche. Nothing about my life. I literally I'm sitting up here saying, I don't want to have this conversation. I think everybody is inherently good. We just need education.
Yes.
But I see people get senselessly murdered. And then people justify it by saying what? Like, insert his history here. Okay, who knew that when he died?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that have to do with? And so here's the fun part. You ready for this one, guys?
Bring it. Bring it.
If I leave this house today and I'm a concealed handgun carrier and I have my gun in the car and I'm yes sir, no sir, got my hands on the dashboard, got my hands up. Do you have any weapons in the car? Yes sir. I handed my license in. I handed my my concealed handgun license. And guess what happens? Just like I get kind of tight when a police car cruiser gets in behind me. Is that officer going to get tight? Because the black man is now having a concealed handgun. Well, okay, now here's the fun part. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see your license and registration. I got to move my hands. How do I move my hands? We've never had this dialogue. I don't know what he's comfortable with. I don't know. I want to seem normal and regular, so I don't want to like go slow and methodical, but I don't want to go too fast. Like, what? Do you understand? By the way, that's not what you deal with. That's not what you deal with. This is why I don't even carry my gun. This is why I don't. Even though I'm legally out, I have every legal right, but I don't have every moral right. So now, once again, I want to hone in on one part of that. We don't have a dialogue. All you know is what of me. All I know is of you. So we're literally miming. We're literally non-verbally communicating. And if I guess wrong, I might die. Can you say that?
No, but I mean, in the similar situation, you know, definitely been harassed by the cops before, but and not to even your extent, because I've heard stories about what it means to get pulled over, what you guys have to go through. I heard a heartbreaking story about this woman talking about, how she narrates everything she does. So, okay, officer, I'm going to put my hand on the steering wheel. Okay, I'm going to reach into my pink purse right here, and I'm going to get and she's like narrating it, and it's horrible. But I mean, and Sean, thank you for sharing that, because most people don't understand that that's what happens. How has this impacted your wife? Since you shared that she's white, how has this impacted her, and what kind of things has she seen now that it's like surfaced again, or is this something she's familiar with?
Well, honestly, she has we have 4 beautiful children, and we've been knowing each other for 20 years. I've been married for 14, and it's I'm proud of her. I'm not going to lie to you. Like at her position, she is everything that I need her to be. Like, she is spearheading stuff. We talk about a lot of different things, but some of the things we don't talk about. And so I'll look on Facebook and I'll see her friend put something up, and I'm like, hey, I see you. At her job, she has initiated some things, and I was like, okay. So it's just a matter of that she's coming from, my wife is from Cove, Texas. You know where Baytown is? Mm-hmm. So it is a oil industry, small tape factory, basically. And I go down there, like in her mother's living room, there's the Ku Klux Klan Chronicle. It's a newspaper clipping. And the grandmother is great, but it's just a matter of that. This is, it's like, and on this day, these things happen. And I was like, when I first went there and I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's not going to be good.
So red flag.
But the grandmother said, if my daughter loves you, then I love you too.
That's beautiful.
And so you can see the love, and everybody has the capacity. They just have things to unlearn, which we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And
So,
I love
I'm sorry. So,
I was just going to touch on the fact that when you were sharing that, Sean, about the police officer, you were compassionate enough to even see things from his side of the situation. Because I've got a friend of mine in law enforcement, and we've had these conversations before. And he's like, dude, he goes, and he's a great guy. And he's like, dude, I get into situations and I'm paralyzed because I think I'm not going to make it home to see my kids. And I'm just trying to do a routine traffic stop because he's had maybe 75 people spit on him and call him pig and all. And he's coming up to a spot and he's like, I don't know what I'm just as scared as this guy is. And sometimes you don't realize that. So thank you for saying that, because that shows the compassion in your heart. And that's how we all have to look at things. I just posted in a walk and talk video the other day. You know, when people sit there and bitch about, oh, those people do this and those people do that, and my mother did this, I'm like, I just simply challenge them. Like, if you went and walked in that person's shoes and had their beliefs instilled in them and went through their upbringings with their teachers and society and their family, and you went through all of that for the entire period of time that person's been alive, might you be exactly like them? And the answer is yes. So if we can have compassion for the people and see what they've been through, and I think obviously through the dialogue and these discussions and doing our work on the last 400 years of our world, that's massive. So thank you for sharing that, because that's important that we all get that, and we all can sit there and say, hey, wow, no, I don't have to pucker my butt that much when I get pulled over. I just get pissed off and make sure that they're not going to try to get me for more. But when you get pulled over, it's like literally life and death.
Well, I mean, and I hate to trivialize it like that, but that's coming from an honest place. Like that's as real as it gets with me. Like
we have a question.
I said something where I was out, like when all this stuff started going on, I just jumped in the truck and went for a ride. And I remembered that I was like maybe 30, 45 minutes away from the house. And I remembered that my license plate light was flickering. And I just pulled over and I was like, let me see if this thing is out. And it was out, and I was hitting on it and it didn't come on. I'm like, well, that's an outing that's going to stop. I went straight home, because what I don't want is that I just don't want to initiate. Like, if I can avoid that interaction, that's what I'm going to do. And by the way, these are individuals that are, not only trained, but they're sworn an oath to protect and serve. And they're not out to harm me, or I don't know if they are. And that's the whole point, is that we use this obligatory, like, oh man, police, but some people out there to just get a check. Some people out there were bullied and was like, man, this is my way to get back. I'm gonna show people now. And you don't know who you're running up against. So when you see all these videos where it's 13, 15 cops around and they're like, stop resisting. What do you like? And I want to tell white America, when you hear stop resisting and you have a blanket of police around you, that is code for we're going to fuck you up, and we need to make sure we have every part of excessive force at our disposal. So even if you're not doing anything, we're going to say, stop resisting, sir. Like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here getting kneed in the face and kicked in the groin, and stop resisting. Stop what? Stop. I'm not moving. You're moving. Like, what do you want? So when you hear stop resisting 4 or 5 times and you don't see this person like just jerking and they're just standing there like that's just simple code. I mean, that's Black 101, folks.
Wow.
Hey, I mean, it's certain. If you talk to people in LA in games, it's a given that when they get picked up, that they don't go to jail. The cops go and take them, and they rough them up just to get a rapport with them. Let you know who runs the block. And it's like, but these are like, it's just. How about this, folks? Here's what happens. Me to you. We need to have a Senate oversight committee. We'll keep about 12 or 14 of these old people, and we'll use their information. But we need some 35 to 50-year-old, 35, 45-year-old guys and young ladies They got young families, and that's really trying to make a change, because our biggest situation right now is that our leadership, and I'm not talking about president, I'm not talking about this, I'm talking about our leadership, the people that actually dictate policy. They're not, you have career politicians that have yet to make a difference or a change, but yet they get elected every year, reelected every year. And what I did is I actually started researching how many career politicians there are. I stopped at 18.
18? You stopped at 18?
I stopped at 18.
It was like 80%, 85%, something insane.
Jeez,
I stopped at 18. I was like, this is your job? Like, you're not even making a difference anymore. You're just collecting a check. Jeez. So now you're just part of a pack or a party, and you're just saying, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Hey, today is Tuesday. We already voted on that. We already know how we think about that. Today is really Monday. No, today is Friday. But no, then some people say too. And it's like people have already have predetermined answers to questions they don't even know.
100%.
And that's what the problem is that now you got a country that used to be able to be controlled because the internet wasn't a thing. But now you got people that didn't, and I'm going to be honest, let's just talk.
Let's do it.
That's what has given people that were voiceless a voice. And that's a good and a bad. Because now they're empowered. People that would never leave their house, that they have like a persona online, but in person they can't even talk. They can't even order food.
Keyboard warrior.
They're over here. Let me send out this. Let me send out this. And it's like people are using information as facts.
Yep.
People are using information, meaning I wrote an article last week. You know what? Somebody in West Virginia liked it and was like, man, you got to listen to this guy. He's awesome. Then somebody retweeted it, and now it's going viral. No facts at all. Just my opinion. But since so many people got behind it, it's fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's an important delineation too. That's my wife brought up too. She goes, a lot of people are out there espousing things that are actual opinions, but it's an op-ed piece. And there's, oh, I just read this in the New York Times. This is fact. That's crazy. We have a question, and actually a great question. This is somebody new to the show, Zbar. Thank you, Z, for being here.
That's my buddy Zach.
Huh?
That's my buddy Zach. You know him, Sean. Yeah, he's a hooper in Austin too.
What's up, Zach? Thank you for being here. How do I help people like that without causing them to shut down, or are they already shut down to me and therefore helpless? Is it possibly planting a seed of change in them? What do you guys think?
Do you mind if I respond?
Sure, go. That's what we want.
All right, so I'm a farmer, and as a farmer, I want 80% of my crop to grow. I want 100% of it to grow, but I know that's not realistic. But what I have to do is I have to do the right things to make every seed grow. Now, is it labor intensive? Absolutely. But the reward is I get a harvest. Did that make any sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's what I think about when I think about coaching sometimes, is I think that I'm just planting seeds, and then eventually, they are going to come to fruition. They're actually going to pop up and educate people. But sometimes, don't you think they just need a slap upside the face and just like be shaken, just like, boom, this is what you got to do. I mean, that's one of the things I really want to get to, Sean, is, and I know you, and I respect what you're doing, but at the same time, people need to see that. Like, what is the thing that pisses you off the most about all of this? If you were speaking to the entire world and you were able to say, okay, if we could just fix this one fucking thing, what is it that would be the best thing where we could start to make the change that would have the biggest shift for everybody's improvement, both Black, white, Hispanic, gay, lesbian, everybody? What is that?
Honestly, I would just say that, what if I looked at you as a threat first? That's it. If you could take that down, we could make change is imminent. But I'm threatening you because of I'm menacing, the way I talk, the way I dress. I mean, what's menacing? Oh wait, it's me. I can't do anything about me, but I can present me and I can represent myself in the highest manner. But if I never get the opportunity to do that, all you see first is who is that behind me. It's so. I mean, that's the one thing that actually makes me completely irate is the fact that I never get a chance to be first.
So worst case, I plant the seed and move on, knowing I did my best.
Yes.
No, I mean, what you do is this: is that once again, it's part. Okay, I'll use the same analogy. Part of a farmer is not that you planted the seeds. You have to water the seed. You have to do everything. You have to go out on a day in and day out basis. You have to be consistent with your messaging. So now, if one day, here's what I had on the basketball court, I was an absolute maniac. Like I just hated people. I want to win. And it was just like people were like, man, this dude is nuts. And I was like, that's not a fair representation of me, but that's the representation I gave him. So what I had to do is I had to figure out how to not calm me down, but how to sit up and say, hey, look, give people an opportunity to know who you are. So if that means that my basketball had to suffer, and that's what it had to do. But so when he asked that question, plant the seed, I mean, the main thing is going to be that it's not, and I'll stop talking parables and just talk straight English, that my interactions matter. So if you allow me to interact with you, I got to make them count. And if it's a negative encounter, I got to take ownership. And when we do that, now every time I have dialogue with somebody, it's meaningful. Not only that, instead of, hey, how you doing? I'm now trying to search in like gates to get to you. And a perfect example, bro, there's a young lady, Martine, I just say her first name, Martine, on my Facebook. And she just goes hard, right? And I'm just like, I'm the retort king. I'm just going to just kill you. Just die.
Nice.
And they're just like little grenades and they just hit you. And so she's just like very, very, very staunch about who she is and how she's going to be. And so what I told her, I said, hey, look, you know what? If you actually had a little bit more tact, because you're very knowledgeable, and I like you because your information, the way you present it, it actually looks like fact. So I give you a little bit of sarcasm with admonishment. And then I say, hey, look, like, I think that, and they're like, I think when I tell them I think you're intelligent, I think you're smart and you have a voice, but I think here's a better way to use it. And they have to, since I set the what is the word I'm looking for? Since I set the
expectation,
then I have to live up to it. And now they hold, even if it's for a day, I kind of changed their rhetoric up a little bit. But this young lady DM'd me and was like, you know, just telling me about herself and her upbringing. And this is why, you know, I'm scientific and I'm matter of fact and straightforward. And I'm like, oh, but you can still be you and still have a discussion with me. And this is how you break down the wall. I mean, it's painstaking, folks. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be like, hey, you know, listen to me. Like, this is going to be something that you are going to have to invest time, energy, and effort into. If you really want to change the world, do you think that we're in 2020? The world has been around forever. What do? Do you think that it's going to be like, oh, well, and I'll use a basketball analogy. I tell people all the time, they come in the gym 15, 16, 17 years old. I say, hey, look, you've been practicing being you for 17 years. I'm not going to fix it in a day. And once I say that to them, it kind of relaxes them and it tells them, you know what? I didn't get here in one day. I'm not going to fix it in one day. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. So Travis? No, Scott. What's his name?
Zach.
Zbar. So what if they hate what I have to say and shut down? I could easily give that answer. What would you guys like to say?
I mean, I honestly, bro. I mean, honestly, here's my honest answer. I got to do the things that I have to do, and you have to do what you have to do. Now, I'm going to try and go halfway, a third of the way. Hell, I didn't even go all the way. But I have to have a reason to do it. If you're just going to shut me down because, oh, you ready for this one? At the resort, gentleman walking by, Make America Great Again hat. Cool, no problem. Hey, that's your belief. I have no problem with that. Here's the problem I had. 7 times he walked by me, not in a matter of an hour or two, in a matter of 8 minutes.
Wow.
Just walking I'm in front of me, my family, my biracial family. And I'm like, so the 7th time he walks by, I'm like, mother, and my wife just grabbed me. I'm just like, and by the way, the funniest part of this whole situation, I'm openly weeping right there. Like, I'm just tired of this shit. Like, why are people messing with me like this? I'm trying my best, my man. Like, I'm trying my best to be understanding of everybody around me. But what is it about me that makes you want to mess with me? Then it makes me want to give them what they asked. So you know what I did after I finished crying? I've been emotional, whatever. But after I finished crying, I saw him at the bar, and I bought his whole first round. He bought for like 8 or 9 people. I didn't give a shit what the bill was. I was like, whatever, I got it. I got it.
Class.
Hey, you know what happened? His name was Josh from Houston, and God made it to where I saw Josh every 10 minutes. And he had to speak to me, and I had to speak to him. And by the end of it, he wished my daughter a happy birthday. His daughter came up and was like, hey, happy birthday. Like, amazing can happen when you want it to happen. But it's going to be hard, man. It's going to be some nasty. It's going to be some stuff you don't want to do. And that's how change is going to happen.
That's what Zach just needed to hear. I mean, I know Zach, I know he's listening right now, and he's going like this. He's going, thank you for sharing that, Sean, because here's the thing. Right now, whether you're black, white, I mean, it doesn't matter in the sense that if I was sitting with you and we were sitting there and you walked by again, I know my personality. If you and I had a few drinks, I'm like, I mean, I don't know that you want two men with alpha mentalities sitting there at the same time, because there's no one to say don't. And so
hey, like literally, I was like, but you know what the weird part is, Scott, is that now I'm gonna tell you why when I said I feel like I have to lose to win is that I'm only afforded here and there mess ups. And then my whole life is just torn apart. Right? So now, in order for me to be a provider and a protector for my family, I have to act out. I have to go away in order to it's weird, because it's like I feel like, or in the other lose to win is that I have to put aside my dignity, put aside my humanness, and go to your sub level to make you feel good, and then have to dialogue from the bottom on up. Take a subservient approach to make meaningful dialogue happen. I have to lose to win.
So here's something, like, so I'm processing and I'm spinning right now, and then I'm almost feeling guilty, because if I was there, I'd have been like, F that guy, let's go, like I would have walked up and like pulled it off his head. Like, I want to do that, you know what I mean? So, but then who walks away from that? You're the angry black guy, I'm some drunk white guy, and I can go home and I'm fine, and nobody remembers me, but everybody remembers you. And that's
Absolutely.
It's another example of bullshit where I can check my privilege and I can walk away. So here's what I want to figure out.
Not to interrupt, but just, this is the $400 a night kind of stuff. So we out there with the folks.
So I want to understand, this is what I'm trying to visualize. And so this is where I think we can get deep and we can really do this. So, we talked about equity, we talked about equality, we're talking about education. So here's the reality. We've got a world full, or at least in the US, let's just talk about the US for now. We've got a lot of Black people who have been oppressed and are in situations with different degrees of anger and different degrees of how they're going to show that anger, and different degrees of, did I find a way to get my education? Did I find a way to be successful? And so if I'm, let's just use Maslow. If I'm in Maslow's hierarchy of needs and I haven't even mastered my safety needs, emotional and physical yet, I might be in a space where I'm like, F it, I'm going to go loot, I'm going to go burn something, whatever. And so now we got the, I told you so bull crap. So what can we do? All right. Because here's the thing. I would have jumped on your emotions and probably egged you on to do something when you have way more to lose than I do. So what do people like us? Okay. We've got a bunch of people who maybe, let's not say we were formerly complicit. I've been speaking out forever, but I've also been learning. So what do we do with the people who are sitting in that middle third, not the top third, not the bottom third, like the middle third, who are saying, what can I do to help Sean Hardeman and family in a situation like that? Like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, I'm really trying to get an answer.
And number one, the beautiful thing about that question is that it actually came up. When it comes up, then you know that things are happening, right? Because before it never happened. We never got to the point of action. So now this time in American history has never happened before. Civil rights movement, we got people's attention, but we don't have it like that. Like, you got other countries saying, how messed up is this? And they look at America like, the heck with America.
How does that make you feel? To see that unity across the globe? Does that change? Does that help you in any way, shape, or form to see that? Does it make a dent in the fact that we are moving toward, fixing it? Or does it seem like just, okay, hopefully that's just not the flavor of the week? How do you see that?
You know what the beauty of it is that like with the civil rights movement, those people didn't know that they were going to be immortalized. The other part is this: the people that stood in their way didn't know they were going to be immortalized. So I would tell everybody out there to be careful, because you're going to get remembered, because this is going to be a timestamp in the history of America. And the people that stand out and want to, okay, cool. You know what? Keep on doing your thing. You will be immortalized, no doubt about it. But the other part is that, so that middle third, what you do in order to capitalize on this situation, we have to make an effective change come about. And I don't know what that is, but I know that we have the attention, we have the resources, and we have the anger and the emotion. The three things that you need to make any powerful impact. So, because the emotion is the oxygen. Let's be clear. So when you see rioting, and then you see the other side diametrically opposed to the rioting, and then you see that middle ground. The middle ground is the truth. Is the true part. So when you see people just, I'm going to go tear up some things, I get it, but did that fix? So that's the irrational.
Sure, that's the hardest point.
These people, all they do is tear up their stuff. Oh, you don't see all the peaceful. So all you're doing. So now you're the complete diametric situation. Right? So now I have to sit up here and say, I can't deal with that, and I can't deal with that. Let me go straight to the heart of the matter. So the heart of the matter are the people that are in between the rioting and the perpetuation of Black Lives Matter's racist organization, and they and this person is Sean King, and I'm like, you know what? How about this? What if I just say Black Lives Matter? I'm not part of the movement. I don't care about the movement. I don't give a damn about the movement. Is not providing for this house. It's not sitting up here gonna take me to a new place in America. But you know what happens? Is this: I am Black in America, and from that I earn my stripes, and I earn my stripes and talk. And second part, I'm a decent citizen. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay taxes. I provide for my family. I have a community service that I do. I do mentoring. So now I'm giving back time, which is way bigger than your money that you write off every year. So now I'm foot to ground, and all I'm asking you to do is help me if you want to. But even if you don't want to, it's going to get done. Once again, this time in American history will be timestamped. And what I'm not doing, my next venture is talking to Uber about how to get voter registration, how to get people out on voting day and getting free Uber rides.
Didn't Lyft, I think Lyft did something with that. They did it like in the last election. We should look into that because Lyft had something like that where it was either, let's take a look at that because there was something that Lyft was like doing with that. And that's, I'll be on board with you to support that. Like, let's absolutely do that.
No, I mean, it's just because what I want to do is this Republican, Democrat. Right now, we don't have a choice. It's either that or that.
Just get people's voices.
The key is that 12% of the population voting.
It's crazy.
That's disgraceful. So let's get it up to 35. Let's get it up to 40%.
Yes.
And what that does is that now there is no. I mean, do you understand? And I could care less about the presidency. I'm talking about the Senate. I want to clean that thing out.
The policy.
Let's go knock all these 900-year-old dudes and women out of that.
McConnell.
No, but here's the key: Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
McConnell. How about this? Here's what I want to do. I don't mind having an oversight committee, but what I want is this. I want fresh thinking.
Yes.
I want fresh initiative. I want somebody that's going to say, hey, look, instead of me protecting these PACs, instead of, $225 million to the Kennedy Center for a stimulus bill, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
Why? But at the same time, on a Republican, so it's not just Democrat and Republican, it's dumb. It's just waste. And we have people in place that are very good at wasting resources. So the only thing I tell Chrissy and Scott is that the future you, are they going to say thank you for putting me in debt? Are they going to say, we're doing things that we don't have to do, but we're trying. I mean, it just on and on. But from a racial divide, I see America as a beautiful place. I don't know anything else, right? The other part is this: how I feel about law enforcement is how I feel. I mean, because of the relationship I've had with them and the people that look like me, their relationship that they had with them, I love them. When I call you, I want you to come, but I need you to. Send that rational one. Send the one that wants to, because and I'll be honest. The one thing I will say about police officers, I haven't heard anybody say to date. The reason why their job is so hard is that in 5 seconds they have to figure out what the proper corrective action, action to take, and they have to go with that 100%. There's no other job that says, you know what, there's no forgiveness on what they say. So if they deem it as a threat, 100%, no question asked, that's what they're going to go at. But they have 5 seconds to determine the threat, to do a threat analysis. They don't go to school long enough for that. No. I mean, the FBI, think about that. Like, you're sending out regular people. You're sending out regular people to do an extraordinary job.
They were showing
they're going to fail. They're going to fail at times.
They absolutely are. They've shown that. It was like some of the Nordic countries were like Norway, Sweden. There were some other countries that they're learning that, like identifying threats and like all that for 2 years in places that are far less far more homogenous and less violent. And here they're doing like a 3-month program. Here, can you shoot straight? Go. Crazy. And here's the deal. Do we even know they shoot straight, or does somebody just say, yeah, you did it, go? It's like, Sean, you got your concealed handgun license. Remember the day we went and we shot you had to shoot the targets when you took the class, the CHL test?
Yes, sir.
Remember there was like a guy next to you who was like shooting left and right and they still gave him a certificate?
Yes.
Really?
I'm assuming that's happening in the police too, because all I know is there was a guy next to me who like shot the ground before he hit, and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Barney
I'm
Five?
thinking to myself, I'm like, that's actually why I chose not to get my CHL, because of that moment where someone shot the ground and then shot. I'm like, I don't even know I don't want to be around these. It's like I don't even want to be around it. So, I mean, Chris, literally, there's like 20 people or 10 people next to each other going like, pow, 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 pow. And I got my 45 with hollow tips because it seemed cool. I'm like blowing away this piece of board, but it just doesn't make sense. So, sorry I detracted, but
No,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking with the training of the cops. It looks just like that. So,
but I mean, the thing about it is that with every broad stroke we paint is a generalization,
sure.
because these are individuals with individual situations, but they 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 pose themselves as the elite. We put them on a higher level when these might be sub-level thinking individuals. They might be alcoholics. They might be alcoholics. Have we ever thought about, hey, how are they doing with this quarantine? Have we ever thought about, like, what happens when, because officers in certain industries have high divorce rates.
Yep.
So, I mean, are you having problems with your wife right now? Like, while you're working, are you thinking about her cheating on you? Like, are you using good? So we're putting these guys on a pedestal that they don't necessarily belong on. But at the same point, this is why there has to be a police of the police.
Mhm.
Because right now, this is crazy. This is crazy. That's it. I'll just leave it there.
Cindy says, I have a question. Of course you do. Great. Thank you for being here, Cindy. If police are shooting, why are they not taught to shoot in the legs instead of for the chest? Not any reason, right?
By the way, it's a choice. Don't that question is a great question, but anybody that shoots guns knows that when I shoot to kill, it's a choice. When I see you as a threat, or when I see you as game, I'm shooting to kill. If I see a deer, a 5-point deer that I'm trying to take on, I'm not shooting to maim him. I'm shooting to kill him. If I see somebody that, I do my threat assessment, and I'm like, you know what, this is kind of dangerous. You know what, I got to put him down. But then at the same time, you have situations that with every act of violence, there's an act of kindness. It's just we're not necessarily always on the kindness end of it. And I just don't know how. I can't go into your mind and understand what you're taught. But it's something that's being taught because we're seeing the same thing over and over and over. Think about that. Different states, different police, white, black, Asian, doing stupid stuff, right? Well, somebody sent me a statistic of white men being locked up more. I'm like, well, statistically, that is correct. I mean, it is correct, but let's go back to Black 101. Black 101 is we are the minority, and we're the minority in numbers, and then you lock us up, so we're the minority. But then if you look at the actual percentage of crime, like, oh well, black, you only do this. Look at the percentage of our population that get caught up in this stuff, and I don't like that part of it because I'm not part of the equation. But I have to understand that in order for me to be a mathematician, I have to first understand the math problems, constants, variables. If I know the constants and I don't know the variables, that's not a complete math equation. If I know the variables but I don't know the constant, that's not a complete math equation. So I have to sit up here and be like, the Pythagorean theorem, x squared plus y squared equals z squared. Why do I know that? Because I was taught that. Okay, so now what are these officers being taught? Second part, what are these black men being taught. Because be quite honest, if we actually taught the law back to the law, that's not a good situation for us. Hey, so where you going? Where you coming from? What the heck, man? Just write the ticket, bro. Oh, what you got in the car? No, what? Oh, well, I'm gonna detain you for 30 minutes. Okay. All right, hey, you know what? I smell alcohol in your breath. All right, step outside. What? All right, now you're there for an hour and a half. You know why? Because he got time. Because if he spent 10 minutes with you or 2 hours with you, he's still getting paid.
Wow.
Wait, y'all acting like surprised that y'all heard that. What?
No, because we just heard it in that video. The woman that was saying it, she actually cried when she realized that police stops aren't 45 minutes. Like she was talking to some of her white friends, and she's like, you know, when you get stopped by police, it's roughly 45 minutes. They're like, no, because they're literally running through every check. Did she steal the car? Did she do something bad? Did she do this? And so,
hey, well, I got you here. Let me just do the whole gamut.
It's crazy.
But once again, I mean, but here. So, am I wrong?
No.
Am I thinking to say, you know what? But that's normal.
So that's the crazy thing. Like, so this is again, you know, I mean, we can go down so many roads right now. We could go to re-explaining why Black Lives Matter makes sense. We could talk about Candace Owens. We could talk about the defund the police. I see so many places we can go. Where do you want to go right now? Because right now I've got like 10 questions that I want to go into.
Me too. I've got 3.
Okay, well, I'm actually, from a bootstrap guy, kind of my mentality guy, I'm actually just saying I'm open. I mean, with anything that you want to talk about, except a couple of things. But, I mean, my experiences, and by the way, I'm the okay, decent side. They're career criminals that, you know, just locked up. Hey, I'm going back. Like, that's not what I do. Like, if you ever want to see me act wonderful and kind, you're going to jail. Oh, hey, sir. Oh, look, I don't like that at all. Not at all. So my job, the way the point of view that I want to bring to the table is, you got a law-abiding individual that loves his family, loves his wife, and wants to protect them, but at the same time, doesn't want to lose his identity to just to exist.
So let's start with probably the quickest answer. That's potentially the quickest answer, because, you know, if we start talking about, you know, the hashtag defund police, if we start talking about Candace Owens, we can literally just go get a couple 6-packs and sit here for quite a while. Let's go to a simple answer of explain. Let's pretend right now we've got a bunch of defense people listening to us, okay? And they're sitting here going, I'm listening, but I'm not buying into Black Lives Matter because all lives matter. Just give us your perspective of a simple definition of why they should support, or anyone should support, Black Lives Matter.
It's just like anything else in your community. If there's a family that's being displaced, you don't sit up here and say, well, we got what we need. You go and help that family because they're in your neighborhood. I'm in your neighborhood. I'm in your family tree. I'm a human. So I'm in all intents and purposes, I'm being displaced. And as a neighbor, as the neighborly thing to do, help me out.
Yeah, but doesn't all lives matter take care of that? You're a neighbor.
You know what the beauty of it is that you can go home and you can do what you do, but understand that when it comes to your time, hopefully you get the same karma. If you're not going to pay attention to people in need, it's a Bible principle. If you're not going to take care of people in need at that point in time, in your time of need, you will get passed up as well. So what I'm looking at is this: that when you say Black Lives Matter and all lives matter, like, that's semantics. That's somebody that just wants to pick a fight. Because if you actually think that, in my head, so I do basketball training. I train white, black, Asian, Indian, you know, Chinese, whatever it is. If you like basketball and I think I want to work with you. We're in there and we're grinding it out. Now, if I see a parent drive up I had a parent that drove up in a Bentley truck, and I told him that his son didn't work hard enough. And he was like, I appreciate that. I appreciate your candor, sir. Are you sure you know what you're talking about? I said, sir, unless you are giving me access to your pocketbook, you spend the same money that everybody else does. And what you do is that when you deal with things with integrity and not based on what people can do for you, then you'll understand it. So when you sit up here and say Black Lives Matter, if that bothers you, what is it going to take from you? What are you losing? Because it might, by the way, it might take away your privilege. It might take away your opportunity to be the top dog for the next 400 years. You okay with that? No, maybe. Yes. No. I mean, so the whole point is this: is that I get why there's pushback. Oh, especially when I didn't do anything to work for the position I got. I was just there. So now instead of me saying, okay, well, instead of me having to earn my spot, and I don't want you to give me a spot, well, let's just figure out like where I'm at and where you are. I'm not worried about the hierarchy part of it. I just need help. Is that okay? Like I don't need to be where you are. I don't want to move into your neighborhood, get into your house. I just need some help right now. Is that fair to say? Can we get that done?
Sounds so simple. Like it's
simple, right? But
the
here too. Opposing view is that I'm going to lose if I do this.
Sean, would you mind if I, and I'd love to have Chris do the same thing, but share my initial understanding of white privilege when I was a kid, if you'd accept that, because so, I grew up, dad left the family, he was out smoking pot, doing whatever he's doing, just young marriage, and he's gone. And so it's me and my mom, and I can sit here and think to myself, like, we were buying 5 for $1 TV dinners and, like those little pot pies or whatever. So if you said to me white privilege at 9, 10, 11, 12, I'm going to say, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I'm white. But here's where all of a sudden it started to make sense. One day I get pulled over in high school and the cop's like, I know you from basketball. You're a nice kid. You go to St. John's Prep. Be on your way, Scott. And it's quick and simple. And I get caught stealing something, or I get caught acting stupid and drunk. And it's like, oh, it's just Scott. He's a nice guy. And I just thought it was my amazing charm and personality. It definitely has something to do with my skin color. And I can sit here and bullshit you all day long and say, oh, I'm just charming and really fun to be with. But I can tell you this, I'll never forget this. I was driving home, a buddy of mine on the basketball team in college, my freshman year, was driving home with me. We got pulled over on the highway, guns drawn, pulled out of the car, hands down on the thing. And you can relate to this. Black man robbed bank nearby. Every car being pulled over with a black man, literally. And I'm sitting there like, we didn't know there's a white guy in the car. So finally, this is literally how the apology went. They come up to me, they go, we're sorry, sir, you guys can leave. And they never even apologized to him. I'll never forget that. They're literally like, you guys can go. Like almost like I'm representing the black guy. They're like, I'm his agent or something. And I remember like thinking like, oh man, that was crazy. And he's like, that's not funny. And I'm like, yeah, but oh my God, they thought we were somebody else. And it took me years to process what the hell had happened there. It's crazy. I'm getting pulled over. I mean, so how many cars were they pulling over? Black man in like red car, But it's insane. And so, when we talk about white privilege, doesn't mean that I was given a kickstart financially or whatever else. But in situations like that, I can literally get away with murder. Literally.
And you know what? The one thing that I do want to bring up is with Black families, when people traditionally, when people die, they leave debt. White families, when they die, Their house is paid for. They got a couple of stocks, little bonds here and there. They got life insurance, and their burial are paid for. So now you're inheriting assets. We're inheriting debt. And it's like, you don't understand where that comes from. But I mean, this people 65, 70, 80 years old, and they have nothing to show for their time or existence on earth. And that's the one thing that me and my wife, we talk about, where we're like, this is what we're going to do, how we're going to set our kids up, blah, blah, blah. Because it's like, what I can't do is I can't perpetuate that cycle. And that might not necessarily be a white, black, but here's what I can tell you. When your opportunities are limited, or when you have a retirement, but you still have to work, because you have the economic model has not been taught wholly. My kids, 11, I have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and 9-year-old. My 13 and 11-year-olds know about stocks and bonds. Know about we talk about definitions. We talk like so my 13-year-old just opened up her bank account, and she's gonna start trading in August, I think. Because what I want to do is this: I want her to understand how this world works, the financial world, and that's the beauty of, that's the one thing that I look at some of my white friends and say, hey man, look, I'm proud that y'all have economic viability. Teach that shit. Like, let people in on, like, hey, you know what? This little raggedy piece of house I got, I'm gonna leave it to my kids one day. You know what your kid's gonna do? I hate this house, but we're gonna divide it up into threes. And I got $80,000, and you get 80,000, and you get 80,000, and now we got a rainy day fund. Well, 80,000 is a hell of a rainy day fund.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and by the way, this is middle America kind of crap. This ain't even like rich people. Mm-hmm. So I don't look at it as a have and a have not. I'm just saying that. I mean, it's a lot of wonderful things that I get to learn by having a white wife.
What are the top three? What are the top three things that you've learned?
Say it again.
What are the top things that you've learned? You said you've learned a lot from her. What are the top three?
Yeah, I mean, but really, it's just, once again, my wife sat up here when we bought our first house. He sat up here. I would eat out all the time. She's like, I'm not giving you money to eat out. What do you mean you're not giving me money? I'm taking your money. But no, you're not. And she was like, well, you want to live in the house? I'm like, yeah. All right, well, this is what we have to do to get it done. And literally for a year and a half, we did not spend any extra money. And we moved into that house, and it was beautiful. We got a 2,500 square foot home with just me and her, 2-story, like 3-bedroom. And then we ended up filling that sucker up. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, so she showed me how to long-term game plan. Like, I do a lot. Before I met her, I did short-term thinking, a lot of it. So, yeah, I mean, once again, it's economic viability. So just, I mean, that's one of the many ways that she existed.
John, I wanted to wish you, I don't know if you know, today is Happy Loving Day. And Loving Day was actually the was it 1967 or whatever, when biracial marriage was made legal? And
yeah, I remember that. Yes, sir.
So
you're right. It is. Yeah, I saw that.
And it's crazy. Chris calls me and he goes, "What are we going to call our show? The one we did earlier about our new coaching platform."
The love. Yeah.
And we called it "What Is Love?" And then I was like, "Wow! Like, what the coincidences are just going off," which was pretty cool. So
yeah, that's crazy. Sean, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about, you've mentioned him before. A couple of weeks ago, I had the amazing opportunity to meet and talk with a guest on my Raw and Unscripted show. Her name's Raquel, and she too has interracial kids. I mean, she was married to a black man for 20 years, and she gave an amazing, vulnerable interview with us and talking about the impact on her kids. And as a matter of fact, that's an ongoing situation. Talk to us about how your kids have been impacted and what some of their perspectives are and some of the things that they're struggling with that can help us understand as well the impact that goes down to the child level, and then also perhaps what your thoughts are about the younger generation and the shifts that are going on right now. It seems like it's a lot. It's like the younger generation, the 20 somethings, the 30 somethings. It really seems like they're fired up about, the unity and everything else going on. But most importantly, what about your kids and how are they dealing with all of this?
Well, messaging wise, we had a family discussion last Thursday. What I don't want to do is that I'm not going to let TikTok and outside media and social media dictate our family values. I think more parents need to be, you know what, the internet is a beautiful tool when it's used properly. Mm-hmm. And it's a very divisive tool when used for an agenda. And it's a lot of people that know TikTok is out there with these younger kids, and their agenda is, you know what, I gotta shape young minds. So let me do some fun videos, and then let me put one offensive one up. Oh, you missed that? Okay, you didn't really. Okay, then let me put 2 or 3 of them. And I mean, and so if you don't have these discussions with your kids, other people are shaping your kids' ideology. So me and my wife said we're going to sit down as a family. We're going to talk it out, and we're going to listen to our kids. And so for the first 5 minutes, it was just quiet. And then one of them started talking, and then they started talking, then it just rolled. And I think that's the one thing that's going to be missing out of this entire situation. So I put on Facebook that the reason why I'm getting involved as heavy as I am is because I have to make my kids tomorrow better than my today. And if I don't, and I think if people actually, I'm 46, like what am I holding on to? So it's like, it's some things that I've acquired and, I want to keep, but at the same point, I really don't care. Because if I have to lose it to better my son's or better my daughter's situation, then that's what it's going to be. So the younger guys, younger generation is just so valuable.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when we're 65, 80 years old, and you talk about, defunding Medicare, you'll think twice because you love me. You will. At the end of the day, it's going to adversely affect people that you care about. When you don't give a damn about nobody, you know what? We just see numbers. Well, the numbers say we need to do. It's so many, man. Does the post office make money at all?
No.
My wife and I were just talking about that.
It loses what, $1 trillion a year?
Yeah, they're getting funded by the Congress has to reapprove funding for every year. So,
but why do they keep on doing it, Scott?
I mean, the theory would be efficiency, and we've got a mail system that is functional. I mean, that's what you're hearing. So,
well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know why, and I'm not going to argue it. I just know that it doesn't make sense, but yet we still do it.
Yeah.
So there's some things that just don't make sense, but we still need to do them. And once again, when it comes to just interaction, communication, like you got some young people that just all they do is just game. They have no social skills at all. Make it easier for them to.
A lot of people, of kids doing that.
So, I mean, but here's the key is that, but I have kids that we waited as long as we possibly could before we introduced technology to them. But now that we do, man, they just gobble that crap up, kind of like we do on Facebook every day.
There you go. Yeah, try to change the world, and they want to get the highest score. Hey, Sean, let me ask you another question real quick because I want to dovetail on Chris's question. So talking about your kids, I've got a friend, Dwayne Bryant, and he's a youth speaker out of Chicago. He's worked, do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you know where I'm going with it. So Dwayne is, he's kind of the opposite of me. He's provoking people hardcore, but he's pushing some stuff down your throat. Now his book, The Stop, is all about Black parents or biracial parents with kids who are Black kids teaching to stop. Tell me, because I've heard so many perspectives by reading his posts. Tell me about like that conversation, because I think more white people need to understand the conversation that when your kids are going out and they're getting a car or going out with friends and they're going to go out drinking or smoke pot, what happens in the stop? What happens if police approach you? What are you going to tell your kids? Because here's what I tell my kids, or what I would: just be safe. Talk to you later.
Well, so here's what I do. The things that I was taught when I was young, I still do. I had a trainer where I do basketball training. I had a trainer that I said, hey, I need to go and get, I need you to take me to my car. It's at the shop. Before I got in the car, I said, is there anything in this car that's going to get me locked up? They're like, what? I said, do you have anything in this car? If we get stopped, am I going to jail? Because if so, I don't want to get in this vehicle. And I had to sit up here and preface that thing. And it was like, no, 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 no. I'm like, no, no, don't just say no, 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 no. Like, I'm putting my life in your hands. And I take that, but this is like an embedded trained mechanism that I have. I don't get in a car unless I know what's in that car. Because here's what, if there's anything in that vehicle and he gets stopped and it's us, everybody's going to jail. If it's not us, the driver's going to jail. That's it. And it's like, so what I have to do is I have to tell my kids, one, you are who you are, the company that you keep. Two, ask the question, ask the uncomfortable question. Is there anything in this car that's going to get me locked up if we get stopped? And if you don't, I mean, and by the way, this is a parent conversation. But with my son, I'm hammering his. Like, I would hate to be, I would hate to be my son, because it's like everything is a teaching moment. Because what I want to do is I want to sit up here and have my cute little Miles is going to be a black man at some point. And I don't know when the shift changes, but when it does, he's looked at differently. And that's just facts.
And that's, I really feel like that is something that all parents need to understand. There's different conversations having it, being had in different homes. And it's, when I heard Dwayne first sharing his book, The Stop, and talking about that, he was hardcore, saying like, you make one wrong turn in Chicago, he's like, you're dead. And it was clear as can be.
Absolutely.
So he was describing some of those conversations. And I'm thinking, my parents just said, don't drink, which really just meant drink.
Oh.
And don't drive the car, whatever. And the cop pulls you over like, oh, it's Scott Goyette, basketball guy. Don't do it again. No one's shooting me.
Like, I went to a Chicago Bulls wedding, and we went to Chicago. And all I could think about was, okay, I don't want to go here. I don't need to. I got to stay away from here. I got to stay. I'm just sitting up here. I'm like, I'm dealing with the upper echelon. Like, we're in downtown, and it's just a matter of like, you get so overloaded with information that you think things that are true that really aren't. Like, Chicago is bad, I will give you that, but Chicago is a city in America.
Sure. And
the fun part about that is this: if you want to change. Okay, how about this, folks? You ready for this? Hey, you do realize Flint, Michigan still doesn't have drinking water?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now
all this other funding,
by the way,
we can't do that.
By the way, how does that even happen?
Well, at least the Kennedy Center's funded.
You do realize that people in Puerto Rico still don't have electricity?
Yes.
Okay, that is an American providence. How does that happen?
Trump's not a fan of the governor.
Well, I mean, what I'm doing is this: that at the end of the day, what you have is that you're having the shaping of ideology right in front of you.
Yep.
And when you don't push back, it becomes fact. So now, by the way, the reason why Flint still doesn't have drinking water is nobody gives a damn. Because they were outraged in the beginning, but since nobody got outraged, whatever. I mean,
that should have been the top priority for funding.
This is the United States of America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we better start acting like it.
Hey, no, but then you got but once again, like this is why I don't try to do platform, because it's too much stuff. Like a Candace Owens. I have one question about Candace Owens.
No, I was going to ask you about her because I mean, she's obviously a hot topic of conversation.
She has valuable points. Like, oh my God, yeah. I have a question. Who does she work for?
That's the question.
Who does she work for?
Fox News.
Breitbart, OAN.
No. She doesn't work for Fox News. Trump. She gets paid by Fox News.
But who did she work? Who funds her? Who started that?
Hey, so guess what? Now you ready for this? You know all the wonderful white folks that hate Al Sharpton? Well, that's your Al Sharpton. Candace Owens is your Al. So now anytime there's a racial out black white polarizing issue, guess who you're gonna see no matter what?
Run to Candace. What's your perspective, Candace?
Absolutely.
Represent the black community.
She's going to give us some salient points, and she's going to be very dignified, and she's going to speak so well, and it's going to be awesome. You know what? And then we're going to put the post up and like, look at what Candace said. Like that shit is facts. It's just simple opinion, but because of the way she says it, and she's black, let's prop her up in front of everybody and be like, hey, why don't y'all think like that too? So all I do is that I go back and I look at situations like that, and I'm like, I listen to it, and I'm like, very good point. You know what the funniest part about George Floyd's death is that she was like, he was not a martyr. If you go look at his criminal record, but you know what I had? The beauty of when you say that out in space, you get intelligent people to respond. You know, this man sat up here and pled guilty. Like, if you go back and look at his criminal record, he got locked up and pled the same day on felony offenses. Who does that? By the way, these were court-appointed attorneys. They never did any discovery. Do you understand this? But it sounds so good. It sounds so good when you say such salient points. But if you don't, okay, so let's look at his history. Well, no, let's really look at his history. He had 6 felonies. 5 of them, he had public defenders. They were all what is the word? Not adjudicated. They were all
no contest.
Well, no. So he did a motion of guilty within 1 or 2 days of being charged. There's no time for discovery if you are pleading 1 to 2 days. So here's what happened: a public defender who got paid $260. And by the way, hey, folks, you want to get outraged and you want to find out some stuff? It's called public record. A public defender got paid $260 spending 3 hours with this dude, and he got a felony. That's fine. Hey, by the way, he had less than a gram of cocaine on one of them. On his first offense, that was his first offense, and he got a felony. Within the same day he pled, same day, no first time offender, no probation, no and it's like, so if you want, now when she brought that up, I was like, this is a perfect person to show you the failures of American judicial system.
Well, you have the 3rd Ward of Houston. Of course, they're going to give you a felony for that. If you're at a frat party at UT, they're going to say you only had a half a gram. Oh, you guys are done. It's a different deal. If you're George Bush, and you're partying with your buddies, they're going to say, it is what it is, dude. He's like, was it good stuff? And you walk away. And I'm not making fun of George Bush, but I was a little bit.
I mean, but the whole point what I wanted to do, let me shut this door. Hold on just a second.
No problem.
So
I do it, George.
But the point I was going to make was that at the end of the day, folks, the judicial system, this public defender system, this bail system is not set up fairly and equally. Like this gentleman that you sit up here and just prop up as, he's such a bad person, standard for a martyr. When she said that, first thing I thought about, you ready for this?
Ready.
Who the hell wants to be a martyr?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the standard of being a martyr? Like,
what are you doing Thursday? I'm gonna martyr myself.
Yeah.
I feel like dying today. But first,
I have met some people who wanted to be who were martyrs of themselves.
But then I took it a step further and said, hey, who's the standard for their martyrdom? MLK. Hey, I'm gonna do a spoiler alert if you don't know by now. Turn the sound down. But his ass was assassinated. And he did it, quote unquote, the way you like it.
Yep.
So I mean, we in a situation like this, everything is wrong because Kaepernick kneels. He shouldn't be kneeling. Okay. Well, we shouldn't be rioting. Okay. Y'all should be peacefully protesting. We did that, but we did it
all.
The hypocrisy is overwhelming.
But that's what it is. But that's where, I'm not gonna do this. Yeah, I had to think about that when I almost did it, but I'm not gonna do it.
So Sean, think of this, right? You've got two people sitting here right now. We're having some conversations that, they're not super uncomfortable for Chris and I because we're willing to open our minds. But just like the house analogy or the house metaphor, we're sitting there, a year ago, 2 years ago, in a space where Kaepernick's kneeling, or we're here, all lives matter. And our first reaction, because we've got, a bias of, our friend groups, they're saying, I'm in the military and that's wrong. And so we're going, yeah, you're right. That's the wrong place, the wrong time. And we're agreeing until we have conversations with our Black friends and they help us awaken. And then the same thing with All Lives Matter. So it's possible. It's very possible to get these people to shift their minds.
Well, you know what the beauty of it is? Believe it or not, Nike was forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? They jumped on this immediately.
All the stuff they've done wrong, but they actually understood that was coming.
And so in history, they're going to be looked at as the pioneers. Anyway, it's like, but this is where you have to figure out what you want to fight about.
Yeah.
Because we're fighting over how you did it. Like, if you listen to what he said, it was the same thing that we're saying today. Same exact thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. But it's just a matter of that the narrative was changed from what he said to what people translated it as. It was a monstrosity. And that's what we have to, we have to sit up here and actually have an understanding of where people are coming from and know the space, the mind space. And like, it wasn't like he was just like out of control, losing. He actually had enough forethought to ask the military guy, what should I do? He was trying to be respectful.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Jeez.
He did it with the president. I mean, everything. He was trying to be super.
He was trying to be, when he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to figure out the right way to do it. And he didn't even have to. He could have just said that. I mean, he could have did a million things if he wanted to piss people off. So that's all. It's just, and once again, hindsight, but shout out to Cap. I mean, that honestly, that's who I want to be. And it's not Cap or Nick. It's the mindset that says, you know what? I want to make everything around me better.
Yeah. And people forget.
Hey, last thing. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
You think he had the mindset that said, I think I'm going to have to lose to win?
100%.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. He put it all out there. Put it all out there.
And it's just a matter of like, but that's how we have to invoke change. And that's what I don't want to put my freedom at risk for change to happen.
Sean, it's interesting because what you're saying with that lose to win, like it just something popped in my head. I made a post the other day that, I was defending Black Lives Matter and just defending, just open your mind. And some guy just pretty much went off on me. He's one of the Westlake guys. He's got his own plane. He's here in Austin. And in a nutshell, I just called him out on, I think I mentioned it. He had a thread that a bunch of his friends were saying, Michelle Obama's a man, Michelle Obama's an ape. And I just went off on him. And so really what it came down to was I'm thinking, first of all, what is wrong with this person? But I just felt like I had to say something. I had to educate him and I had to try to wake him up. But, you're talking about your Hyatt Lost Pines experience. Man, I wanted to take a deep breath and be there to educate. But let's just say that I lost a bunch of friends. We'll just leave it at that. But,
well, I mean, I think the main thing is that you really didn't lose.
Yeah.
Because I am the company that I keep. That's what I teach my son.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're talking about. Then honestly, you were going to be caught up in that situation, and me and you were about to talk.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very, very clear, straightforward conversation.
Yeah. Well, that was an easy one. But it is like I'm always trying to be the middle of the road to get people to talk. What we're talking about now, like, but there's a point to where it's like, okay, that's clearly crossing the line. Like you're not. And the thing was, he didn't defend. He just let it all happen on his thread, and there was no other side to it. So I'm like, essentially, I just lost a bunch of fake friends. But I was just shocked that you could have that many people on one thread in one Facebook group with that behavior. That's what scares me, though.
But that's why you don't argue on Facebook, because it's literally to your base. Like I have not had a Facebook post that changed my mind about anything.
No, I was just saying that the other day. Same thing. Like it never happened.
Here's why. Significant change. And here's why I say that. Is that if you look at it, and then first thing you do is you look to see who said it. And then like, oh, okay, well, this is why they're saying. Like it's either to your base or this is that friend that's off in the deep woods. And so you now preface it in your mind. So when I say it doesn't change your mind, I'm not talking about every single post. I'm just saying, like, Facebook is like the information gatherer. And our mind chooses fact and fiction.
It's true.
Based on our narratives.
Yep. It's your subconscious what it's attaching to, because like I said before, like I was attaching to friend groups and going, these are smart guys. I mean, that's something that I think we've all learned is smart guys, nice kids in school, did the right thing in life. And so we assume what they're saying is okay. And we're all learning that it doesn't matter how well educated you are. You're a nice person at church. You're a good husband or a wife. That doesn't equate to a high level of integrity or good. I don't want to say bad person. It doesn't equate to thinking that is serving the masses at all.
So you know what? Here's what I'll do. I have a friend that's in Rockdale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her kids are both of her kids play Division I basketball, and she put up something, like, hey, look, Rockdale ISD, what's your say? I haven't heard from you guys. What do you think? Black Lives Matter, because Rockdale is 80, 70, 75% black. Mm-hmm. And one of the teachers came on and she's like, I love every kid of color. And I give my heart and I give my soul and I love the community I serve. And normally that was the kumbaya moment. But the mom, and this is what's beautiful about this time, the moms came back and said, I understand that. That's not what I asked. Do Black Lives Matter? And literally the woman, I hit her in her messenger. And I was like, I'm patiently waiting for well-crafted around. And the woman tried to speak around and like, no, do black. And it's like, how hard is that to say? You serve a black community. And it's just, could you imagine that situation? Somebody having to lose to win to say that Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's a loss. That's what their loss is.
She's scared. She's got a friend group that will literally say, "Oh, you're one of them." I mean, I've watched this. I've got a friend in Westlake who messaged me, and she goes, "I wanted to say something the other day in your thread, but I couldn't say anything." She's like, "I'm a realtor in Westlake. I can't say anything." She's like, "But I see what you're saying, and I thank you, and I agree with you." You know how much that must suck? And I said to her, I will never, ever, ever try to tell you when to step up and be an active observer, which we call it in the Go Love Now model. But I will say this, I go, the day you become your authentic self and you're fully transparent and you're in service to others, it's going to be a very liberating moment for you. It's going to be scary as all hell. Yeah. But I can't tell her, listen, she's got kids to feed. I don't know what her husband makes versus her. Exactly. It's a very crappy situation where, when do you put that online? When do you do it?
I mean, yeah, that's my answer. The whole point is this: is that, but that's why my respect for Kaepernick has went up, because it took him 4 years to get vindicated when he was vilified. Mm-hmm. And how many of us are willing to do that? Like mm-hmm. what that person just said, but I'm not willing to lose. And it's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of like I have things that I want to talk about, but I'm like, it's just a slippery slope. I'm not gonna change people's minds on X, Y, and Z because of just. Here's what I will say. When we have young men and young women who are not accountable based on their words, meaning that they say one thing and then they come right back and say, "I didn't say that." Like, no, we got you. Like, everybody heard you say, "I didn't say that." That's going to be a next wave of human behavior, because they've seen it practiced at the highest level.
From the highest level down, I know.
And it's like, what do you do with that? Like, could you imagine your kid sitting up here and saying, "Fuck you"? And it's like, what? What did you just say? I didn't say anything. Did you just cuss? Like, I heard you just say, "No, I didn't say anything." And it's like, what are you talking about? Like you just heard, and they make you feel like you're stupid, and then it's like, now I got to go crazy. Hold on, just a second. So, no, we have to do a better job of educating young men again on the fact that they're gonna have to get their accountability back up. Definitely.
So I want to add one thing to that, all right? Because one of the nice things that, and I know you're with youth a lot too, and I think that I know that a lot of youth are seeing that in that leadership role. I still have faith that can shift, because you're a leader, I'm a leader. They're also looking to their local leaders. They're seeing that representation at the top of the line in politics, and they're seeing behaviors, but they're looking at you, they're looking at me, they're looking at Chris, because I'm still a fan of this. Our youth are closest to source. And what I mean by that is they're closest to creator, God, whatever you want to call them. So as they're growing up, 14, 15, 16, 18 in my classes, I see a freshness, I see a different energy, and I see a defiance of what they're seeing from the top levels. Now I know there's people in rural areas who are getting in this echo chamber or whatever, but I have a feeling that my students, your players, the kids that I'm talking to, they feel more alive than ever to me. They're vibrating at a different level. Mm-hmm. I think that they're hearing you and I more than that person. And so that's my take. Now, is it going to be a battle? Is it going to be a struggle? Absolutely. There's no question. But is the outcome going to be the one of unity that we desire? 100%. It's just, how long does it take, and how quickly are we willing to make it happen?
I agree.
Great point, Scott.
So, Chris, do
What
you
were you
have
going to say, Chris?
what's that?
Chris, what were you going to say?
No, I just was going to say that's a great point. I just want to share something with you guys here. There's somebody here that's a part of this group, and thank you guys so much for still being here with us. Obviously, we're talking about very candid stuff.
The Drew Brees one?
My friend Patricia is here. Patricia, I've known for how many years? This is going to be an interesting thing, actually, because Patricia and I haven't talked in a while. We chat on Facebook every once in a while, but the God's honest truth is this Believe wristband. She's going to trip out. You watch. She's going to type something. She gave me this Believe wristband at a Rockstar event we were at years and years ago when I was there with my dead cat, my dying cat. I took him to this Rockstar hotel, and I got to know Patricia. Long story short, Patricia wrote a great book called The Karmic Alibi. She is an intuitive. She is a beautiful soul on this planet. She spreads love and cheer. For her to say this, is massive for what we're doing right here. And it's a testament to you, Sean, to say thank you so much. I mean, Patricia's massive. So thank you so much, Patricia, for being here. Obviously, all you guys are massive, but coming from Patricia, that's like a huge thing. So she has many perspectives on life, and I would love to have Patricia on the show to expand upon that. But honestly, I mean, this discussion has again been illuminating and inspiring in many respects, very depressing and sad in a lot of respects. But I just thank you for your candidness and everything, and just shoot it back to you guys. What else can we say in this time that potentially we can shift a perspective and continue encouraging people to have these discussions? I was just talking with my brother Brandon last night. He's in the younger generation. And I said, what are you guys feeling about this? And they said, we're pissed off and we're doing podcasts on this and we're interviewing our Black friends. I'm like, totally, that's what me and Scott are doing. So it's really inspiring to see people having those conversations. But I just want to say thank you again for being here and just to see what else you guys have to throw in.
Well, I mean, what I want to say is this, that I don't want you to take anything that we say as facts. I want you to take it as you can prove it or disprove it. And once you do that, you have to dive deeper. So here's what I did. Here's why I say that. Candace Owens, very salient points, right? Awesome. Here's the problem, is that once she said what she said, it was up to me to figure out how she could say it. So that made me go into George Floyd's arrest record. And it made me see, bro, like he's pleading the same day. Like, who does that? And I felt like, come on now. So, and when people offer you perspective, it's not anything that you have to like deal with right then and there, but it is something that you have to make a point of what you're going to do. So if I sit up here and say, hey, look, this is my experience as a Black individual. Now, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to sit up here and say, hey, look, so what does that mean? How does that happen? Who else? Where can I find the factoids in what he's saying? And if you want to go at it as try to disprove it, outstanding, because then it's just going to get you more knowledgeable about the subject matter. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not.
No.
So what I do is that I don't want to have surface level conversations. I don't want to have surface level conversations. I don't want anybody listening to this stuff to sit up here and be like, man, I rock with these guys. If you're part of our base, if you believe like we believe, I need other people in here. Go find somebody else to get in here, because we're not doing anything but churning butter. Like, what when you churn butter, what does it become?
Thicker butter?
Thicker butter.
I think so. I think it's thicker butter.
I mean, so, I need some milk in there, and now we can make it a little cream. And, I need diametric scenarios where we can get change. And by the way, you just heard what I said. I'm talking about property changes. Butter is a solid, and we're trying to turn it into a liquid. And you got to introduce some things to it to make it change properties. And that's all this conversation is. This is why I'm involved. This is why I'm 100% 10 toes down. And if you guys call me, I'm gonna be in the, in the back room or in the comments or out here in the public in front. I don't really care because it's like, this is important.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Final thoughts, Mr. Goyette.
So I would like to make a commitment and ask you to do the same, Chris. And I'm sure that Sean would want to hear us say this too. It's very easy for you and I to start the fight at the Hyatt. It's very easy for you and I in the moment right now to say, let's grab a black guy and bring him on the show. It's very easy for you and I to walk back into our white privilege. But here's the thing. I want to challenge everybody to include you, myself, everybody listening, and share the heck out of this video so that we can get more to commit to this, to challenge you to keep this vibration. Sean said something beautiful earlier, and actually I'm almost feeling tears thinking about it. He has a video where he's literally in tears at a resort because he had some issues going on at home that he was dealing with. And I'm not going to explain it all. He didn't want to explain it. He's in a video. He's literally at a resort crying because he's mentally displaced from all this crap going on. So what I want to challenge everybody to think about is he saved that moment to remember where he was, where that vibration he was, so he doesn't forget it. So he continues to act, continues to do things, even if he has to lose before he wins. So I want to challenge you guys to remember this moment right now. Don't say, hey, great, this is great, we want to make some changes, and then just go back into your comfort zone. Let's sit at this vibration right now, okay? Let's sacrifice a little bit, because here's what's going to happen. And I want to give you guys a visual, because this is something that we could miss very easily right now. If Black lives truly matter, and watch this, okay? There's definitely powers that be and 1%ers, and we don't need to discuss conspiracy theories, but there's powers that want divide. The minute that we address Black Lives Matter, we help heal that oppression, and we can talk about what that's through, whether it's education, equity, whatever. And then we go to whatever groups are bleeding in that moment. When that heals, we all heal.
Yep.
It's that simple.
We're part of the callus. We become part of the callus. And by the way, the body has to build a callus in order for it to stop bleeding. It
sounds, so when we're denying individual change to heal the whole, we're denying healing, period. And I'm just going to end with that.
I mean, hey, y'all, this is amazing. I appreciate the opportunity. The apprehension went away very, very quick. But at the same point, it's just a matter of I'm not trying to be the forefront of anything. I just want to, I want people to understand, hey, man, there's people out here, literally busting their tail and, trying to get it, trying to lead a decent life, trying to be a good dad, trying to get, leave some things for my kids. And I don't know if, here's the weirdest part about this whole thing. I don't know if life, all these occurrences built up and they just caught up to me, or if my real life just played out in front of me. I don't know which one it was. I just know that it was very vibrant, very I couldn't distinguish, was I running to it or was it coming to me?
Mm.
And if you don't understand what I just said, that's where I'm at as a dad and as a Black man.
I think it's a little of both, honestly. It's a little bit of both. You're at a hinge point for, that's what I thought about it in terms of this for myself. When Scott and I talked about it, it was jumping into that pool of, okay, we're going to be bringing this up. And of course, people on Facebook are going to be, what's this guy doing? You're going to lose some friends. I think I just posted the other day. I took a snapshot when I first did my walk and talk, talking about what was going on. with George Floyd and everything, I took a picture of my friend's thing, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out and I'm going to start saying more things that are unpopular. I'm going to start, voicing my concern about Black Lives Matter and a lot of other things that I've held back my voice in fear of what are those people going to think. And I took that snapshot, and I somewhat expected I was going to lose a few people, which is totally fine. I'm at a point in my life now, like you were saying, we're older guys. You get to a point, and I love it, because you think about old people, they don't give a fuck. Why don't old people give a fuck? Because they're burnt the fuck, and they don't.
We right there. We got a toe in the grave.
Yeah, they're like, shut up. So we're at that point now. It's like, at least for me, I think about my legacy. You'll get to know me, Sean. As I think about my legacy all the time, I think about regrets, and I think about, what would my son think? If I died tomorrow, would my son look back on, my career here on social media and everything? Would he be proud that I stood up and I did these things? Yeah. So we got to continue having those conversations and those vulnerabilities in these moments, and continue spreading out, because it is having impact, having those voices and having it all happen for a reason. And at this amazing time, I tell people all the time, like, the kids at 40 years from now are going to look back in the history books, and they're going to say, God dang, those guys in 2020, they went through some shit. They went through some shit, but guess what? The whole world stood up. The whole fucking world stood up and went, let's hold hands. We're all tired of this bullshit. We just want to live our lives. It's the government. It's all this other bullshit that's going on. Everybody, I've talked to so many people around the world, everywhere. They all want the same thing. We all want the same thing, no matter who you talk to, what size, what color, what sexual orientation. We all want to be happy. We want to take care of our families. We want opportunities, like you're saying. Every single person in this world wants that. And that's how we have to, like we said before, with voting and everything and making a difference. But, just your time here has been tremendous, Sean. And we thank you so much. And if you know of people who want a platform to come and talk about this and share their viewpoints, please send them our way. I mean, Arvind last week was amazing. You're obviously amazing.
I'm gonna talk to Mark Henry.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mark Henry is the Hall of Fame WWE wrestler. Very, very, very educated individual. Very, like, his mind is just brilliant. So.
It's funny. One of my good friends my freshman year of college was Shane McMahon. So I don't know if you know Shane, but
I know. Yeah, Vince. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his kid. Yeah, he's I haven't seen him in a long time, but we were really good buddies for a year. We got a lot of trouble together. We got to get him on. He'll be like, actually, I don't know if I want him on. Is there like what is it, statute of whatever limitations for drunken problems? So.
Oh wow. Well, gentlemen, we have certainly spent 2 hours of our life well spent. I truly believe. Any final comments before I close out the show?
I love you guys.
Hey, spread love. I mean, it's a pleasure. The one thing I want you to understand is that I love you, and I'm here to support you. It doesn't matter what. Like, I'm here. I'm here for you if you need me.
Thank you. We're here with you and for you. So thank you. Love you too. I'm going to put you guys backstage for a second, say some final words, and then we'll wrap up backstage. Thank you, guys. Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours and 3 minutes of heartfelt, honest, open communication with the intention of listening and truly understanding. I did a Facebook Live video or a walk and talk video recently talking about that, and the fact that, people ask me, what can we do? What can I do? What can I do? Some people here in the comments tonight were saying, what can I do? Some simple things, really super simple things, have common decency for everybody you come in contact with. It doesn't have to be white, black, or anything else. Just start being nicer to people, start smiling with people. When you're out and about, let somebody, cut in front of you. Don't get so upset. Don't start calling them names, start treating people fairly, and start educating yourself and really truly listening. The key to relationships isn't what we say necessarily, it's what we hear and how we digest that and how we internalize that based on our belief systems and based on our conditioning and based on everything that we've been through in our life. We have to stop and sit there and make sure, that people are listening and understanding, but more importantly, that we are too, and that we're not just trying to always get our point across and always try to be right. I teach this thing in my coaching. It's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And we're brought up to think that, if you're right, everything's great. And if you're wrong, you're a bad person. But that's not the case. If you're wrong, that just means you haven't been informed. So if you open your eyes and you listen and you understand, and you don't have to agree with what something is saying. And Sean did a perfect job talking about how the officer must have been felt anxious too. You don't have to agree with everything, but you can at least see something from somebody else's point of view and perhaps just change your perspective a little bit, which is the goal of what Scott and I do with this show, is to change your perspective, dial in it a little bit. And vulnerably and quite publicly, we do it the same. That's what we bring that to you. So we just want to say thank you so much for being here on Friday nights and watching these and sharing these and interacting with us so much. Patricia, Angel, Zach, all of you guys that support the Kick-Ass Nation and support Go Live Now, and me and Scott and everything that we're doing, supporting these conversations and sharing those are massive. So we love you. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great Friday night, the rest of your Friday night. We hope you have a great weekend, and stay in touch with us, stay in contact. And if you guys have other people you feel that should have a platform on the show, maybe a differing opinion, we were happy to welcome that too. We're not just going to bring you one side of things, but if you have somebody you want to bring on, send them our way and we'll take a look at that. But just much love, be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. And as always, stay unstoppable. We love you guys. And you guys